All righty, team. Welcome to the Standard Podcast, where we raise the bar, rebuild the culture, and call out the lies or misconceptions that no one else will. This isn't motivation. This is a movement. I'm Thomas Rowe, joined by Aaron Sarles, my host, and today we're sitting down with Tim Kaine. Tim is a business development professional at MMR and former college basketball coach with 24 years of experience. Tim spent his coaching career at Murray State, where he coached NBA star Ja Morant, won 4 OVC regular season championships, 3 tournament titles, and 2 NCAA tournament games, and at LSU as chief of staff and assistant coach. A former 2-sport collegiate athlete, played basketball at UT Martin and soccer at Winthrop University, earning Tennessee State Player of the Year honors and high school All-American recognition in soccer. Tim has built his career on leadership and relationship building. Now he's bringing that competitive team first mindset into the business world, proving that skills that win in championships also build successful careers beyond the game. We're diving into the truth behind what it really takes to build identity, discipline, and legacy in sports and in life. Let's get into it. Tim, you're a rock star. Thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you having me on here, Thomas. I'm really excited to be here and looking forward to raising the standard.
Let's do it. Let's start with that. You went from coaching at is it Ja Morant?
Ja Morant.
Ja Morant. And winning championships at Murray State to transitioning into business development at MMR. What does raising the standard mean to you, especially as you've made the shift from coaching to business?
Yeah, for me, it's a lot of the same things. It's building relationships. I think that was the same thing in coaching for recruiting, and then also building relationships with players. It's the same here, is raising the standard here. And the one nice thing is, I joke with the people here that I left LSU, which is one of the biggest brands in college sports, obviously with the whole Lane Kiffin the last week and a half, 2 weeks, obviously he's dominated ESPN, and you can see that. As MMR is one and the same in the E&I field here and the construction. So I'm very fortunate to be at a company that has such a standard and has raised it that high. And for me is to continue to help them win. And just like I did, whether it was at Murray State, Georgia Southern, Winthrop, everywhere I've been. So just trying to do that and bring that to the table.
Right on. What do you think is the biggest misconception that the culture of the sports industry sold coaches and athletes about success, leadership, and what happens after the game?
Yeah, I think success, everyone, all they want to see is you win, win, win. And that's all that matters. And I think especially with the new NIL is, can I get my bag? Can I get my money? Which I understand completely. I was a coach. I was looking to improve my salary as well and help my family. And I was looking more to make more money so my 401k looked better when I was done retired. But I know as young people, they don't think like that. And I wouldn't have either at that age. But I think what they're failing to see is sticking around and being at a school for whether it's 4 or 5 years. And I transferred to school. So I'm not against the transfer if it's for what's best for you.
Sure.
But sticking somewhere, and I was there 4 years at Winthrop University, and building relationships and going through tough times. I went in as a high school All-American. I didn't play for a year because I was playing basketball and I struggled my first year, and I did think about transferring again. Thank God I didn't. My dad wouldn't let me either because he told me I made a commitment and I wanted to do 2 sports and I wanted to play soccer. So he said, you said you wanted to do it, you have to do it. And I think it's that sticking with something and fighting through. And that's gotten me in life, whether, I'm a college basketball coach. I've been let go 3 different times, whether it's my head coach or me, and just part of the business. And a lot of people could just sit and say, oh, poor me, and cry about it. But I'm a guy that went from Division III, was my first full-time job, to the SEC.
That's
and
awesome.
That was because I knew I had to work no matter what. And, I try to show it to my kids. If something bad happens to me, try not to react to it and grow from it.
No doubt. That's one of the things that Aaron and I battle with a lot. And we try to instill your word is basically the only currency you have, right? So if you commit to a program, more than likely you're going to sit a year or 2 until you learn the offense, defense, learn the whole program, and then you'll find very few athletes actually step right onto the field. And if they do, maybe, God bless you, that's great, or maybe you're in a different division. It depends. But it really comes down to where if you commit to something, you got to stick to it. How did you feel that the lie showed up or the misconception showed up in your journey from being a two-sport college athlete to 24 years of coaching and now building relationships in business? And what truth do you think needs to replace that misconception?
Yeah, I mean, I think the truth is, and this is obviously for coaching for 24 years, and especially, and it's always been the same. It hasn't changed. Social media has just made it bigger. Is you're not that important. I mean, let's be honest. We're all replaceable. Like I know I was an All-American. I thought I was the man. Guess what? When I left, no one cared anymore. I did what I did, and you move on. And I think that's the one thing the younger generation struggles with that. I mean, I think every generation did, but now it's even out there more and they can be on social media to talk about it.
Right.
Is to get out of your own way. You're not that important. Being part of a team and being part of something bigger than yourself, that's what matters. And that's what helps you become, Magic Johnson said it best. One guy can be an MVP on the team, but everyone can be a champion.
Yeah.
It's no different in business. So say we're working to try to get a PO from a company. I don't care if I get it or someone else in the business development department gets it, or one of our construction managers had a great relationship, and that's how we get it because we all win in the end of the day.
No
And I
question.
think that's what people fail to realize. When you win is because everyone's winning. It's not just because you individually get it. I think
Right.
that's the one thing that, even if you look at golfers and tennis players, they all talk about their team. Anytime you hear them, they talk about their team. There's a team involved. Yes, they're the ones out there performing, obviously on an island as a golfer or a tennis player, but they have a team behind them to get them where they're going. And that's what you need to realize. Your family is your team.
Right.
And then if you don't have the family structure, you can have a team that replaces that family.
Yeah. You know what? Did you have that attitude with players that get over yourself? It's not that important. You're not that important. Did you actually share that with some athletes?
I did, a couple times. My guys would always tell me, they'd come into my office and just be like, "You're brutally honest." And I was like, "Well, but I was like, I don't like when people lie to me or sugarcoat things. I'd
Right.
rather you tell me the truth and let me know. And whether that's, if I'm in the office and I'm not doing something to the standard they want, I want them to tell me.
No
Because that
question.
way, I mean, feedback is the breakfast of champions. You want to hear that feedback. I think people think criticism, it's feedback. It's to help you to get where you want to go. I mean, I don't yell at my phone when it tells me to take a left and say,
Right.
"Quit telling me what to do." I follow it because that's the map that gets me to where I want to go. And most coaches want to help you get to where you want to go because they're selfish individuals that want to win as well.
No doubt. No doubt. Like we've talked about when we first met, I think, we both have that military background with our families. My dad used to say, "I'd rather you slap me with the truth and kiss me with a lie," right? So if you just shoot straight with people, you'll just get so much further down the field or the court, right? As opposed to just standing. We're going to move on to the second segment, identity and legacy. You coached Ja Morant. You won 4 OVC regular season championships, 3 tournament titles, 2 NCAA tournament games, and a partridge in a pear tree. Good God. You were chief of staff at LSU and beyond. But beyond the wins and the coaching career, who is Tim Kaine? How do you define character, integrity, and discipline?
Yeah, who am I? I try to be the same person to everybody. And what I mean by that is, like, everyone's going to think of you in different roles because you're always going to be in that. And even when you're coaching at different schools or a different year, you can have to be in a different role, whatever the head coach needs or the program needs for you. But you're always going to be the honest person who they know they can lean on when something needs to get done. As I used to say, GSD, get stuff done.
Right.
I said another word, but that's what, if you ask anyone that was at LSU or Murray or anywhere I've ever been, I hope that's what they say.
Right.
Is one, I was very honest, but two, it didn't matter. No job was too small, no job was too big, whether it was vacuuming the locker room or my own office. That's nothing that's above you. And I think I got to learn that lesson from Dave Luce, who has his name on the court at Austin P, who before every practice when I was a grad assistant, he would mop the floors.
Wow.
And I'd always tell him, "I've got it." And he goes, "No." He goes, "I've got it. If I'm the head coach and I can do this, the rest of the team knows they can do anything too." And that really sent a message to me that, and once again, it's not about you, and to be able to be a servant. And I think, I'm not the most religious person on this earth, but that's the one thing I believe, Christianity tries to teach you is to be a servant.
No question. How do you feel like, or how would you define character, integrity, and discipline?
Yeah, character for me is who you are when no one's looking.
Right.
I think that's the biggest thing. When no one's looking, who are you? Are you doing the right things? Are you one of those people that's going to skip and not touch a line? My thing is, if you're willing to skip lines and not touch them, you're willing to cheat on a lot of other things in life, whether that's your homework or any other thing. To where I just think that to me, that's just like you talked about raising the standard. That is the standard. You have to do that. And then integrity is just doing what you say you're going to do,
Right.
and that people can rely on you with that. So, I mean, I think that to me is the easiest. And discipline, doing what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it. I think things in 3 to 4 words quickly so that I can remember them, because I'm not the smartest human being on earth, but I know if I remember those, and other people will remember them as well.
Right on. Right on. Well, you're now in business development, bringing a competitive team first mindset to completely different arena. What does legacy beyond performance mean to you, especially as someone who's transitioned from coaching to business?
Mhm. Now, my legacy is my kids. I think that's the biggest thing in my family, and what I am to my friends and my family. I think people think too much like legacy is, oh, did I get my jersey in the rafters? Did I get my name on the floor? All those things. And obviously, we always wanted those. I mean, I can't lie. I would love to have my number retired one day. That'd be really cool. But that doesn't mean anything.
Right.
The true thing, that your legacy is what you leave behind, the people you worked with, what do they think of you? And then also, but more importantly, what does your family think of you? You know, for me, I want my kids to know that I was present and that I was there for them and that I helped them. I didn't sugarcoat many things, even with my daughters. They probably tell you I'm pretty brutally honest with them as well, but it's for the good. And it's what my dad taught me. And that was the way he taught me. And he raised 4 boys, and two of them one's a retired colonel, one's a colonel, and had some pretty successful kids by doing that.
No question. No question at all. What do you think? What's one truth you wish every coach, athlete, and business professional understood about leadership and building something that lasts, building a team that lasts?
Man, I think leadership is just, we talked about it, doing what you say you're going to do, and showing people that way. I think too many times nowadays, because people love to put, oh, it's the culture, it's winning, you do the right thing, all those buzzwords that everyone uses. But a lot of people don't live by it. And we all know that. They sound great in an interview, they sound great on a podcast, but they don't live that day to day.
Right.
I think just living that every day and not talking about it all the time. And I'd be a guy and I would tell the players, like, I don't have to talk about it, just do it.
Right.
And as a younger athlete, I used to talk a lot. So I'm sure my high school coach and some of those people would laugh that I say this now. But, when you get a little more mature and you realize, like, just doing the work,
Yep.
and it'll show. And it's the daily. I mean, Tom Brady talks about it. It's doing the ordinary extraordinary over and over and over and over, and having that discipline to do it. And I think about it nowadays every day, make sure I'm doing simple things of making phone calls, of making sure I touch base with certain people that I need to touch base with. And it's just doing it on a consistent level, and doing it daily and weekly.
Right. I was told the definition of boredom is consistency, right? Just doing, getting shit done, like you talked about. If you could sit down with yourself when you were playing 2 sports in college, basketball and soccer, what advice would you give that version of Tim about what was coming next?
Yeah, what was coming next, I'd say enjoy it. And I already knew I was done. I knew I wasn't going to be a pro. So that was fortunate enough for me. I shook Elton Brand's hand, and his hand went way past mine when we shook hands at 18, that I realized I'm not playing in the NBA. And then just my body was starting to break down my senior year, that I kind of was like, even if I could play, I don't know if I want to. That was with soccer. But I mean, I just say enjoy it, have fun. And I think that's one thing I did. And I would always tell, like, I had a great time. My coach sometimes would be like, you're having too much of a good time out here. But he also knew I was the hardest working guy on this team.
Sure. And what would you tell yourself then about leadership and preparing for what's next?
Yeah, leadership. I mean, the thing I would say for me as a leader, and knowing what was coming next as a coach, is really dialing in to studying other leaders. That's the one thing I did as a younger kid. I always read the Rick Pitino, the Coach K books. Like I wanted to be a basketball coach. I mean, if you'd have gone into my room and see all the books I was reading every day, I went home, and ESPN would have the ESPN Classic before ESPN Classic, and they would show all the old Final Fours, and I would watch those constantly. But is watching those leaders and really trying to figure out who you are and what you're going to be. And I think the one thing is I needed to learn early on is, just because you're a leader doesn't mean you always have all the answers.
Right.
And I think the greatest leaders don't always have the answers, but they look for those answers and they have people on their staff who can help them get there.
Sure. You know what? One of the biggest things that Aaron and I deal with, or one of the biggest obstacles when we're talking to athletes, is do they know when it's time to hang up the cleats? You know, when it's time to put the basketball away. When did you know it was time? When did you have an aha moment? Or you're like, hey, I'm just going to finish out the season, or when I'm done? Was there a specific moment, or you just knew it was going to run its course to a certain degree?
Yeah, I knew my senior year. I didn't have any false pretenses. I wasn't going to Europe to play and wasn't going to play in an American league in soccer that I knew. And I thought I pulled my groin, but I actually ripped my hip and had to get surgery later in life for it and started to have some of those issues right there. So I kind of knew right away. And, that senior night comes at you quick. I mean, that was the one thing I'll never forget. I was turning to our teammates and I was like, man, I remember freshman year like it was yesterday.
Yeah, right.
And I still vividly remember it right now. Even, the lights, the smell, all that stuff, the grass and all that stuff of knowing like how quickly it comes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember at running track at San Diego State, when we were honoring their seniors my junior year, he said, guys, gals, this is the best of shape you're going to get in. It's all downhill from here. I was like, holy shit. And he's like, most of you are going to take jobs working in sales and sitting at a desk, sitting in cars. I was like, oh my God. It's just like, yeah, that's what happens. Life sets in whether you like it or not. Tim, we're going to get into segment 4, rapid fire round. I'm just going to fire off a quick sentence and, there's no right or wrong, just kind of shooting from the hip. I'm going to ask you, just go ahead and finish the sentence. Discipline equals
success. Leadership
equals
servitude.
Nice. Faith equals
faith. It's one and the same to me. It's believing in something bigger than yourself.
Bingo. And legacy equals
family.
One thing you'd never compromise on.
Being honest and who I am.
If there were one message that you could put on a billboard for the next generation, what would it be or what would it say?
You're not that important. Get over yourself.
Aaron's going to tell me that every day now. Thanks a lot, Tim. She's going to have that laminated across our office.
Yeah. My wife's probably going to be like, really? You really think that?
So, we touched on it last time, so you had a little homework to think about. I always like to fire this off to my coaches and players. What are the top 3 sports movies of all time, according to Tim?
Ooh, man. Let's go, Hoosiers.
Right on.
What else we got? I love the program growing up. It was awesome.
Right?
That was a great movie. I was playing football at that time, and it was the greatest.
Yeah.
And Blue Chips.
Sure. That's right. There you go. All good ones. So, Tim, before we wrap up, is there something we didn't touch on today that you feel coaches, athletes, and business professionals need to hear about leadership, transition, or building something beyond the game?
Yeah, I think the one thing for me, especially since I just transitioned from coaching for 24 years and, business development in the corporate world, is your skills translate as an athlete, as a coach, all the things, those soft skills you have of going and being able to talk to people, being used to being in front of a crowd and being able to present to people. And those things all translate because I almost got out in 2018 and was worried, like, what can I do? What skills do I have? All I've ever done is coach. Well, you know what I did? I led a team every single day where, I tell people, whether it's the corporate or not, whatever you're doing, you have to lead people every single day. And within that, you have to lead yourself. And when you lead yourself the correct way, you can lead other people. Because if you don't lead yourself the correct way, it doesn't matter. No one's following you anywhere. And there'll be people in the military, coaches, everything. You can tell the ones that don't lead themselves, they struggle to be able to lead other people.
No doubt. Tim, before we get into the contact where people can get a hold of you, if you were going to put together Tim's all-star top 5 basketball players, any generation, who would they be?
MJ.
Okay.
Kobe.
Right on.
LeBron.
Really?
Yeah, he is talented as any. I mean, I can't hate on him. I mean, I'm a Jordan guy, but I know he can do everything and he can play multiple positions because I can put him everywhere. It doesn't
Right.
matter. You got to have Shaq in the middle. You know, I
Okay.
was a Shaq Fu guy back in the day. I got one more for this. Let's see, I got Jordan. I throw Steph Curry in there because he can shoot. No, you need shooting nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome.
I'll play LeBron at the 4.
That's an impressive list, no doubt. And there's so many honorable mentions. Hey Tim, where can people find you? I know you're on LinkedIn. Is there anything else where people could reach out to you, whether it's social media, email that you want to give out?
Yeah, they can reach me on social media. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I believe Instagram is Coach T Kaine, and then Twitter, I'd be lying. I don't remember, but it's a Coach Tim Kaine maybe instead of T Kaine.
Gotcha.
And then email, I have an email address is TKAINE 12 at iCloud.com.
Right on. Right on. Tim, you're a rock star. Thank you so much for sharing your story and your truth. Team, if this conversation challenged you, inspired you, or made you think differently, do 2 things for us. 1, share this episode with someone who needs to hear it, a coach navigating a transition, an athlete wondering what's next, a business professional who values leadership and relationship building. 2, connect with Tim on LinkedIn or on social media. And if you're transitioning from sports to business or building a career rooted in leadership and relationships, Tim is proof that the skills that helped you win a championship also build successful careers off the court. And if you're an athlete, parent, or coach ready to raise the standard, check out blueprintbluechip.com. We help athletes build identity, discipline, and legacy that goes far beyond the game. If you're ready to get clear on who you are beyond the game, join us on our 3-day Reset Win Play show, where we're designed for athletes who are ready to rebuild their foundation. That's also at blueprintbluechip.com. Team, if this episode resonated with you, take 30 seconds and leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It helps us reach more athletes, parents, and leaders who need to hear this message. This is the Standard Podcast, and this movement only grows when you raise the standard together. Talent fades, but truth endures. Let's raise the bar, rebuild the culture, and become the standard. We'll see you next time. Tim, Aaron, thanks so much, you guys. Have a great day.
Thanks for having